Footage from last week's race, and in this race there were a lot of offenders going onto the bricks. You may think, hey, I'm going to attack, I'm going to go onto the bricks, but events like this are one mistake away from never happening again. We've had issues with the bricks in the past, so please just stay off of them. If you continue to have these people jumping onto the bricks, we're just going to have to cone it off, and it's going to make it way worse, so please just avoid those. The course is closed, so if there's an A rider in this group, please jump out. And lastly, Wheeler doesn't happen without volunteers. None of us are getting paid for this. All the money's going back into the race. So after this race, if you're not doing the A race, find myself, Chad Hodges, or Evan Vivey. We'd love to have you work one of the 4 corners. We're racing for 40 minutes tonight. We'll start in 10 seconds.
Howdy and welcome to Whefeler Crit Week 2. So, just a little bit of recap. Last week, week 1, was the first crit of the season, my first race of the season. Didn't go as well as I was hoping it would go. I got dropped, then rotated with a few guys for a little while. We ended up getting lapped, and then I got dropped again. Ended up pulling out of the race. And this week, I really just wanted to stick with the group. And then go from there. Step 1, baby steps, make sure I stick with the group. I made it a point to start on the front row so that I didn't have to cover any gaps or anything like that at the very beginning of the race, or at least I didn't have to cover as many gaps. However, there was one big factor in this race that didn't exist in the last race. Last week was sunny and the wind was like 5 miles per hour out of the south, so almost no wind. This week we had like above 20, 25 mile per hour winds out of the south. So coming around this corner right here, it was just a massive block headwind, and it really hits you as soon as you come around those buildings. So this race was kind of destined to just get split up throughout the day. So you can see there's already 2 guys up off the front. I believe that's Paul Dawson. He was pretty aggressive, and then I don't know who the guy that's with him was. He used to race for Neighborhood Bicycles. But, and then the rest of us are just struggling to keep up. Danny is here in front of me. He's already on his second race of the day, so I'm sure he was feeling it. He's going to start to struggle right here. And I'm going to have to go around him. Luckily, we're in the tailwind section, so I just put a little pressure on the pedals and come around that corner super hard, and I'm right back on. But at this point in the race, I'm feeling all right. It's fast, and I'm sure that I'm already feeling it, but I made it a point to do a couple of VO2 max and anaerobic workouts in between now and then. And those workouts really can just jump start your fitness. That's something that comes really quickly, so I could already tell that I could handle the surges a little bit better in this race. I could go and then recover and then go again a little bit quicker. Whereas last week it just felt like once I went a couple times, that was it. If I had to stand up and pedal again, I was done. But like I said, this race was destined to split up really quickly. You can already see there's a group of 5 or so up there, and then there's 5 of us right here. And and we're just struggling along. And it seems like every time we go around a corner, there's another weird gap that's opened up. There's 2 guys that have a gap, and then there's 3, and then there's those 3 guys, and then me and John. And it just feels like everybody's kind of fighting their own personal battle right now. But yeah, the first few laps were pretty hectic. It was just This section, if you weren't on a wheel when you went around that corner, then you were really struggling to stick with something, or you were having to do a really big effort. And there were a few guys that were really went deep in the first few laps. So this kid in the Oklahoma Flyers kit right here in the white, he probably weighs like 70 pounds, and so a windy race isn't going to suit him very well, so he just was dropping back. And right here is when me and John really start to fall off. I think I see that John is struggling, and I make a pass right here. And I put in another dig, and I can see that this gap is growing quite a bit, and it's making me nervous, so I hit this corner real hard. It's a pretty wide corner, but I took it all the way to the curb. With that tailwind section, you could really carry speed into that corner. But right here is kind of where I start to come unglued. We come around this corner, and I have to do a little effort to get back onto Dustin's wheel. But that was about everything that I had, and I start to fade. And let's take note, there are 3, 6, and then the 2 guys in front of me, so that makes 8 guys that are up in front of me right now. So those 8 guys kind of move on, and you can see Dr. Cody right here. He's also kind of getting gapped. So at this point, I really don't see myself reattaching myself. I'm pretty gassed, and I don't have much left. So at this point, I get dropped. But one thing that I didn't really think about when I got dropped right here was where I was at as far as like the standings go. In my head, that was the full peloton that was in front of me, and I was probably like sitting 15 to 20 or something like that, just because it was so chaotic and it was so hard to stick with the group in those first few laps that I wasn't thinking about who was in front of me. I was just thinking about staying on. I was just thinking about holding the wheel. So what I didn't realize is that I was actually the 9th man on the road right here. And John is on my wheel, and he's going to come around me here in just a second. And we're actually going to start to rotate. And I think the fact that I didn't realize where I was at in the race really helped me, because both me and John just kind of settled in and just started rotating. We were both working out when we were going to trade pulls and all that kind of stuff, and we worked really well together. But we weren't really thinking about like attacking each other or racing or anything like that. A couple laps later, we catch Dr. Cody here, and he drops back to the back of our group and recovers for about a lap. And then he starts trading pulls with us as well, and we all work together. But with him dropping back, that means that we are the 8th, 9th, and 10th racers on the road. And again, I'm not thinking about like actually finishing top 10, because in my head, I'm dropped, I'm gone, and this is all just try not to get lapped. And so yeah, we just settled in and started working pretty well together. Later, we catch one of the guys from the Brick Squad. We end up catching another one, and I'm pretty sure we lapped one of them, and then the other one dropped back to us. And I'm not sure which one that was, but I know they both ended up in our group at the end of the race. But only one of them was up ahead of us whenever we got dropped. But we catch him, and that puts us fighting for 7th place. So we are the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th riders on the road. And then after trading pulls, the 4 of us, a couple laps later, we catch Dustin. And that puts us 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th on the road. So now we're fighting for a top 6. Realizing it, we're actually fighting for a pretty high finish in this race. So I'm just still in my head thinking, oh, we're just trying not to get lapped, and that's it. But now we've got a group of 5, and after talking to some people after the race, we were actually the chase group, and the rest of the guys in the race were just 1s and 2s kind of spread out. So yeah, as the race went on, we really just started picking up guys and building kind of like the main group on the road. But right here, I think we rotated in a weird spot, and I ended up not getting to drop all the way back. And so I wasn't fully recovered when when Dustin took the front right here. And I really had trouble holding onto his wheel. I think he gave it a little juice and then was just kind of drifting away. I don't think he was really attacking or anything like that. I just couldn't hang on to his wheel. And eventually, about half a lap later, everybody kind of comes around me. And we stitch that back up. But we're seeing about 3 laps to go right now. And like I said, I don't really ever know what to do in these situations. I think after this race, I decided my mindset is going to be, it doesn't matter if you're off the back or if you're in a chase group. Treat it like a race, because you're racing. That's what you signed up for. I want to race. I want to have fun, so I'm going to treat the last few laps, even if I'm not fighting for a podium or something like that. I'm going to try out an attack or whatever, and right here we're getting lapped, which means that we're seeing 2 laps to go instead of 3 laps to go. But I think it can be awkward because you never know if the guys that you're with when you're off the back are just like, oh, it's not worth it to try to really like sprint or anything like that. And I've heard some people say, well, you shouldn't sprint for 10th place or whatever. But only 3 guys get to be on the podium. So I want to see if I can sustain a sprint from the point that I want to go from, or from the last corner. I want to see if I can beat the guys around me. I don't want the first time I ever sprint to be when I'm actually in contention for a win. I don't want that to be a rare occurrence. So I decided that I was going to actually make an attack, or actually make an attempt to beat the guys I was with. But I was also feeling pretty tired at this point. I had just let a pretty big gap open up with Dustin, but I dropped back all the way to the back after that, and I really felt like I was recovering. So coming up here with 1 to go, Dr. Cody is going to kind of move to the front right here. And he's going to start to kind of put a dig in. He's not really attacking. He's not really sprinting off the front or anything like that. He's just really kind of stomping on the pedals. And John's starting to struggle. He's looking behind him, asking for help. I probably should have gone around him right here to try to get back up to Dr. Cody, but I just sit on his wheel, and so there's a pretty big gap right here, and this is when I decide to make my move. I stand up, I put in a dig, build my speed. The speedometer doesn't show it, but I was going about 30 miles per hour right here. I railed this corner, scared myself a little bit, and then I opened up my sprint. This is the first time I've really opened it up this season, just to see if I can sustain it all the way. And I cruise in for about 7th place. And didn't realize I got 7th place until I watched this video back and counted how many people were up the road. Sorry, I got on the bricks right there, Ryan. But yeah, so I feel a whole lot better. I really didn't feel like I lost that race. But I feel really good about what I did in this race. I felt like I was strong enough to complete the full 40 minutes and actually like race like a crit should be raced. Everything kind of worked out, and I was able to have some good feelings during that race. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next week.